From Madison, Wisconsin, and broadcast online across the globe, welcome to America's Wild Report, your source of news and updates from the 2011 National Wildlife Refuge System's Conserving the Future Conference. Featuring correspondent Michael Woodbridge from Region 8, correspondent Kim Benton from Region 9, and your host, Region 4's Jennifer Strickland. And now, your host of America's Wild Report, Jennifer Strickland.
Thank you, Jason, and welcome to America's Wild Report. I'm Jennifer Strickland from Region 4 External Affairs, and I'll be your news host for this week. We've got a great show planned for y'all here in Madison and those of you watching across the world online. Madison, Wisconsin is the place to be this week as over 1,000 Fish and Wildlife Service employees, our friends, and our prized conservation partners have gathered together for the Conserving the Future Conference 2011. This seminal event is the place for generations of conservationists and wildlife enthusiasts to connect. Together, we will shape the future of the National Wildlife Refuge System and the preservation of America's wildlife. Monday's registration gave old friends a great opportunity to reconnect. As the flow of participants increased, a reunion-like atmosphere filled the Monona Terrace. Monday kicked off with a series of field trips where participants were given the opportunity to experience conservation firsthand at Necedah and Horicon National Wildlife Refuges, as well as the Aldo Leopold Shack. Correspondent Michael Woodbridge has more.
This is Michael Woodbridge coming to you from the Aldo Leopold Shack, northwest of Madison, Wisconsin. This is a chance for people to come out here, get inspired, and really start thinking about a vision for the refuge system.
So at the Aldo Leopold Legacy Center, just down the road from the shack, where really the whole field of ecological restoration began in many ways. And we really see this as a place to come and be re-inspired or inspired for the first time if you've never heard of Leopold, and kind of rekindle that passion and love that people have for the natural world, and take that back to them, whatever corner of the world they come from.
I'm really excited to have this opportunity to visit Aldo Leopold's property and visit the center here. And throughout the week I'll be reflecting on the field trip here and my time walking quietly down the trails and thinking about my own land ethic and how I'm going to apply that back in the day-to-day work in implementing our new vision.
I have many feelings going on today, and one is the passing of the torch. So coming face to face with the foundation that's been laid, that's inspired me to take on the work that I do in service to our country. And also expanding my mind of what's possible, what's really possible, and how to get people to see that and to embrace it and to think outside the box and try new things, and really integrating conservation into everyday decision making and choices that we as a service make and that our country can make as well.
I started out as an undergraduate, of course, at North Carolina State University, and the Sand County Almanac was required reading. And it's partly from reading that book that made me decide that I wanted to be a refuge manager. But I'd never been here. And so to finally come here as a refuge manager is really a very cool experience. You couldn't have picked a better place, honestly, to have the conference.
As y'all know, Greg Sakanik and Evan Hershey have been doing a series of online interviews leading up to this conference. Well, correspondent Kim Benton has them both right now for the next episode.
Hello, and thank you so much for joining us. I'm Kim Benton, right here on americaswildlife.org, and we are in Madison, Wisconsin at the Conserving the Future Wildlife Refuges and the Next Generation Conference, going on all week long, starting July the 11th through the 15th. It's a pleasure to be here with two distinguished gentlemen, Mr. Greg Sakanik. He is the chief of the National Wildlife Refuge System. Thank you for joining us. How are you doing?
Thank you, Kim. Very well.
Very good, very good. And also Mr. Evan Hershey. He is the president of the National Wildlife Refuge Association. Thank you very much for joining us.
Well, Kim, thank you anyway for having us here. And I think it's important to have a vision statement when you look at the extent of change that occurs on the landscape periodically. And you need to think about whether you're addressing the most important conservation issues that are out there, and put yourself sort of in line with how do you feel you can really make a difference on the landscape that delivers conservation for the American people.
Mm-hmm. And this is the first time for such conference in over a decade. talk about new beginnings all over again for a worthy cause, a good cause. Tell us a little bit about that, Evan, about what you feel this means.
Yeah, you know, Kim, this is a big deal. This is, as you said, the first time we've had anything like this in 10 years. It's an opportunity to look at our conservation strategies. It's an opportunity to talk to the American public and get a sense of what they are looking for in the way of conservation, in terms of recreation, in terms of connecting with the outdoors. So this conference is really an exceptional opportunity to define the future of conservation in this country going forward.
Other awesome stuff that happened Monday included a youth event at Olin Park, a geocaching challenge around the Capitol, and social media sessions where our in-house social media experts work to develop a virtual army of online communicators in the name of conservation.
At the Conserving the Future Wildlife Refuges and the Next Generation Vision Conference, attendees, both in person and virtual, can join in the discussion about the new vision. Many new media tools are being used to connect attendees and encourage open conversation. Today I spoke with a few social media planners to find out what their goal is in incorporating social media at the Vision Conference.
Social media is so new in the Department of Interior and in Fish and Wildlife Service that we're really hoping that we can get employees to feel more comfortable about it. And through that, we wanted to incorporate that here at the conference as much as possible. Twitter being our #1 tool that we can use for virtual participants and plenary participants here to ask questions via Twitter as well as text message. And Facebook will be heavily used as well. That's going to be both on America's Wildlife Facebook page as well as Fish and Wildlife Service's Facebook page. So
what I'm really excited about in the future is this network that we've put together of local communications, connected, from my perspective and my work at a national level. But the real power in that local communication is how that communication is integrated in what's happening in the community. So I'm really excited about that.
Go to americaswildlife.org and click on any of the social media buttons to catch up on conference news and communicate with other attendees.
In addition to reaching a global audience through social media, this conference is making history as the most extensive service live stream ever. Field stations and a wide swath of the American public are expected to watch in the comfort of their home or office.
My name is Greg Thompson. I'm from the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service in the Northeast region. I'm out here at Wisconsin in Madison at the Monona Terrace, and we're here for the National Wildlife Refuge System Visioning Conference. It's a really exciting week. We're going to make this the most interactive online event ever hosted by the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service. One of my responsibilities is to live broadcast our plenary sessions and lecture series and a lot of our content that we're generating throughout the week with our journalists. So please go to www.americaswildlife.org/live and follow the proceedings this week. This will set the pace and our direction for the next 10 years at least for the National Wildlife Refuge System. We want you to be a part of it. You're a part of our vision. So tune in and watch live online.
Throughout the planning and execution of the conference, keeping it green was a consistent goal for the event. Paul Charlin, chair of the conference's green team, discussed the effort to minimize our footprint.
Yeah, the service has made a commitment to reduce their carbon footprint. We've got standards in place in terms of our new construction for our buildings. So the service is making the effort to try to reduce their carbon footprint. And so in conducting this conference, we had to make sure to continue that spirit. In choosing to bring over 1,000 people together, that we have the potential to create a significant impact.
On July 1st, Dan Ash was confirmed as the 16th Director of the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service. Correspondent Kim Betton snagged a moment of Dan's time to discuss the impact of this conference.
Well, I hope we have a shared vision for the National Wildlife Refuge System that's going to take us forward for the next decade or more. The last time we got together like this was in 1998 in Keystone, Colorado, and the vision that we developed there, fulfilling the promise, has really helped us to move the refuge system forward over the past decade plus. So what we're doing here is we're coming together, we're hopefully developing a shared vision and developing some enthusiasm for implementing that vision. So that's what hopefully we'll all carry that away with us when we leave.
Okay, and finally, you're now confirmed Director of U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service. This is a part of your, your agenda at the very beginning, off to a great start.
It really is, and there are a lot of people that have led us to this point of being here in Madison all together, and it's my aspiration as director to be able to go from here forward with the refuge system and the Fish and Wildlife Service as a whole and our partners.
The day culminated with a welcome reception at the Monona Terrace, and Acting Assistant Secretary for Fish, Wildlife and Parks, Rachel Jacobson, welcomed the attendees and set expectations for the week ahead. Also featured at the event was a rousing performance by the Call for Peace Drum and Dance Company. So that sums up registration day at the 2011 Conserving the Future Conference. It was a quick start and the weather got better. We've heard a bunch about the task ahead of us, but above it all, it was a chance for some old friends to get reacquainted. For America's Wild Report, I'm Jennifer Strickland.